From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Ann Hook along with Averi Haugesag. Today on the show, many say space travel is the final frontier. We will talk to an astronaut who got the chance to live on the International Space Station.
Also, universities strive to enhance the student experience. We'll show you how a college student's decision on where they live can make a huge difference. But first, homosexuality is once again illegal in the world's largest democracy. India's Supreme Court reinstalled the colonial-era law after it was overturned in 2009. The nonprofit Nas Foundation spent 7 years fighting to decriminalize homosexuality. They argued that the law's infringement on equality, privacy, and dignity went against India's constitution. Some religious groups disagree. They filed an appeal in the Supreme Court to bring back the law. The court says it's up to Parliament to decide what to do next. More than 200,000 people are on a list for a private mission to Mars. But there is a catch. The voyage will be on a one-way ticket. The Mars One Foundation says it plans to establish a permanent space colony on the Red Planet in 2023. An unmanned space flight involving a robotic lander is already in the works to launch from Earth in 2018. The application process for humans has now been closed. At the end of the year, they will be notifying people who have made it through the round 2 of the process. People often look to new diets to shed extra pounds. One popular diet may not be as helpful as people think. Gluten-free foods were initially made for people with certain conditions. ABC News says 1% of population has celiac disease. Another small population has milder gastro symptoms. These two afflictions cause gluten sensitivity. They make it so people cannot eat certain bread products. Recently, people have been eating gluten-free to lose weight. These results are often not what people expect.
When they start eating a lot of the gluten-free products, for some reason they think they're calorie-free again, and they're not. And in fact, in order to replace gluten, we have to use other kind of flours or products.
To achieve gluten-free, foods go up in calories, fat, and go down in fiber. People on the gluten-free diet tend to overdo gluten-free snacks because they believe that they are eating healthier.
Alzheimer's Disease International expects the number of dementia patients to rise. They say it will rise 3 times higher before the year 2050. This means there will be about 135 million people with the disease. Part of the reason is because they predict increasing life expectancies in poor and middle-income countries. One of the researchers says most governments are woefully unprepared for a dementia epidemic.
One of the bigger decisions for college students is where to live. We met one student who strategically chose a residence that might help take his love of flying to new heights.
Collin Senglaub resembles other college students. Many students go to university to figure things out. Lucky for him, he found his passion early.
Pre-flight stuff, usually small talk, wait for everything to get going, and then start flying. And I usually start the day out flying.
Aviation goes beyond the runway for Collin. His field of study extends to where he lives.
To live around other pilots. Some of them have already come in here with their private pilot license.
Collin lives in what the university calls a living learning community with other future pilots.
So they're living and learning and continuing to have out-of-classroom learning opportunities.
There are opportunities to learn outside of the classroom as well as in the classroom. Resident hall coordinators work to engage students with faculty.
We'll have a room set aside just for, these students and the faculty, and like I said, they're either just casual or sometimes they might have like a mini presentation that they'll have.
It's really nice because you get to meet with the lead flight instructors, and the dean was there last time of the aviation department, and you get to see it more of a personal level with them.
By taking advantage of opportunities created by a unique living environment, Collin hopes his future in aviation will take off. I'm Dora Brallo, reporting for Studio One.
The Association of American Colleges and Universities says living learning communities have a long history. They originally stemmed from social clubs at Oxford, Cambridge, and other Ivy League schools. And that's the news for now. Ann?
All right, thanks, Averi. Let's move it now to Johnathan Metz in the weather studio, who's going to tell us more about the Windy City.
Well, thanks, Ann and Avery. Chicago's been experiencing cool temperatures over the last several days, down to -6 degrees, in fact, at its coldest. But that's not even the problem. They've also had a lot of snow, and as a matter of fact, the Department of Streets and Sanitation has deployed more than 250 snowplows. But the entire state of Illinois, including the Illinois Tollway, has just deployed its full fleet of 182 snowplows onto the tollway to keep the roads open and passable for drivers in the Chicago metro area. Now, this is a map of the coldest temperatures over the northern plains and upper Midwest over the last couple of weeks, from December 1st to December 12th. Chicago's down here at -6, but there's a lot of other colder places in the northern plains. Minneapolis was at -11. In the Dakotas, the capital city of North Dakota, Bismarck, was at -24, so was Grand Forks. Sioux Falls was sitting at a balmy 19 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, with all of these frigid temperatures planning to stay in the upper Midwest for the next several weeks, wind chills provide another way for you to know just how cold it really feels outside.
When it comes to being cold, there's more than one factor that can cause you to shiver. Wind chill is a parameter that can be dangerous if you're not careful.
So why is it dangerous? Because of cooling rate. It cools us faster than the heat we can generate.
Greg says that the wind chill formula is based on temperature and wind speed. For example, if the temperature is -5 degrees and the wind speed is 15 miles an hour, it feels like -26 degrees. However, that is not the only factor.
There are some other things involved in that formula, and if you were to really want to look at all the possible parameters, you would include sunshine, exposure, that type of thing. Because of course, if you're on a sunny side of a building with the wind going on, you're getting some effect from that solar insulation coming in on you.
Greg says that without wind, you should wear fluffier open weave type clothing. Dressing for wind chill is a different scenario.
To have wind as a factor, you're going to want some type of windproof shell on that. So nylon, something that is a little more windproof, or a thick weave type material on the outside.
Although wind chill produces frigid cold conditions, with proper warning and clothing, you can counter its effects. This is Riley Brustel reporting for Studio One Weather.
And in fact, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration says that at temperatures of around 0, exposed skin can freeze in as little as a few minutes. And now the wait is over. Here is the last weather question for the season. What was the coldest temperature ever recorded in the world? Our answers range from -98 to -204, and the answer is waiting for you at the end of the show.
Well, to be honest with you, Jonathan, I don't like any of those options. Let's move it now to Averi Haugesag with today's story.
Thanks, Ann. The American workday starts around 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, but there are some people who watch a completely different clock.
It's 5 a.m., and while most of this neighborhood is still fast asleep, Matt Verke is hard at work.
Oh, every day, regardless.
Matt is the paper boy. Whether it's raining or snowing, Christmas or Monday, Matt is out here every morning.
People love their paper around here, and they get mad if they don't get it.
The streets are quiet and dark, but even in the shadows, Matt notices a lot about his community.
It's kind of funny, you kind of get to learn everybody around here what they do in the morning or what time they get up.
Even though in these houses the alarm clocks aren't buzzing and the coffee's not quite brewed, there's at least one other person who starts their day like Matt.
Here, so that's my dad. He has to text me, make sure I started.
Matt isn't the only paper boy in the family.
Oh, my dad, he was first looking for something like that, 'cause he's a mailman also. He was looking for that side little job, and we found paper outs, and we actually went and got them together.
While most people would rather sleep in, Matt and his dad aren't discouraged by the hours.
That's not a bad job, though. Work for an hour and a half a day. It's not bad.
Matt says getting up this early every morning isn't always easy.
Yeah, 2 streets to go.
But 4 years later, it's become part of his daily routine. This is Olivia Fox reporting for Studio One.
This paper route is just one of Matt's jobs. He is also going to school at UND for clinical psychology. And that's the story for today's show. Ann?
All right, thanks, Avery. Few can say they've traveled through space. Next, we will talk to a woman who recently arrived back from the International Space Station.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by NDAD, helping others to help themselves.
North Dakota is facing challenges in healthcare delivery. The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is building a place to help meet the state's healthcare needs. In addition to a new structure, we're also building interaction between healthcare professionals while building a workforce through expanding class sizes. We're inspiring our youth to engage in healthcare careers and exploring ways to reduce disease. It starts here and ends here, building a better future for North Dakota.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
The University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration, connecting vision to innovation.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
On May 28th, a space shuttle launched for the International Space Station. That crew of astronauts stayed in space for 6 months. This November, the crew flew back to Earth. University of North Dakota alumni Karen Nyberg was among the astronauts who took part in this voyage. I had the chance to chat with her earlier via satellite. She was at the Johnson Space Center. Well, hello, Karen, and welcome from your alma mater, the University of North Dakota.
Hello to everybody at UND.
How are you today?
I'm doing great.
You were in space for 6 months. Tell me, have you gotten your land legs back yet?
I'm getting close to getting my land legs back. The first 24 hours were pretty tough, but it's gone pretty quick since then, and other than being a little tired and feeling like I just ran a marathon yesterday, it's going well.
Well, you launched May 28th. Tell me, what was the experience of takeoff?
It's incredible, and you know, I had launched on the space shuttle before, so I've got to experience 2 different vehicles, and the Soyuz is a lot smaller, and to me I felt it a lot more, but both are fantastic rides.
Well, I can only imagine the adrenaline and the excitement as you were almost aboard the space station, but tell me, what were you experiencing?
I was excited to go back. I had been to the space station for a short mission a few years ago, and this time I was going to be living there, and so it was going to my home. I was excited to get there, excited to settle in, and excited to look out the window again.
You were aboard the International Space Station for 166 days. Tell me, what was the average day in space like?
During the week, it was a very standard day. I'd get up at about 6 o'clock GMT, and somewhere around 7 or 7:30 we would have a daily planning conference with everybody, all the space centers around the world, and then we'd get to work, and we'd be doing everything from science experiments to maintenance to just depending on what was going on at the time. And we'd also have a couple of hours of exercise planned during the day. We did resistive exercise for maintaining our bones and muscles, and also treadmill or bike. And then midday meal, we'd have lunch somewhere around 1 o'clock, and then more work or exercise. And then at the end of the day, about 12 hours after the first daily planning conference, we would have an evening one, and again talk to all of the centers, the space centers around the world. And then after that, it was dinner and some phone calls home, and then bedtime, and then we do it again the next day. Weekends were a little more relaxed. Saturday we did some housekeeping tasks, and again exercise. And Sundays were mostly off. Sundays is usually when we had our private family conferences, our video conferences with our family at home.
Well, it's almost like an average day at home then, except in outer space. What I think is really interesting, you took to tweeting during your time in space. Tell me, why did you want to document via social media?
Well, it was, I was kind of talked into doing it. At first, I was a little hesitant with getting on Twitter, but I'm glad I did, because I was able to share. I was really enjoying taking pictures, and part of that is sharing it with others. And so I was really, that's a great avenue for sharing things very quickly to many people, and and hopefully draw some people in who hadn't thought about traveling into space and who hadn't thought about what we're doing on the space station. And so if I could bring in some new interest into the space program, which I love so much, that's a good day.
Well, you really showed us some of the basics that we don't really think about for an astronaut that's in space. One of those examples is washing your hair. Tell me, why did you want to do that?
I had a lot of people, an amazing number of people, ask me how I wash my hair, and frankly I wanted to show people how easy it was. It's really not a big deal at all, and I think some people took it as, look how hard it is to wash your hair in space, but to me I thought it was rather easy. But since so many people had asked, I thought I would show them.
You took a piece of your alma mater with you. You brought a UND hockey puck. Tell me, how does UND still resonate with you?
Well, that is, having gone to undergraduate school at UND, it's always going to be a very important place to me. Anybody, when you're 18 and you're getting out into the world, that part of your life is very important. And it's the point where, you're starting making decisions on what you're going to do with your life. And such a fantastic education that I got at UND, and it really helped get me where I'm going. And it's also a beautiful campus and just a great place to be.
Well, we're very proud of you here at your alma mater, and we wish you the best of luck, and also welcome home.
Thank you so much.
That was so much fun to do. Had a great opportunity to meet her. Coming up, the words needles and relaxation go together in our next story. We will introduce you to a group that creates clothing and camaraderie.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
Some consider graduation the end of the college experience. For others, it's just the beginning.
And the university provided an environment where I could grow.
And many years after I graduated, I'm still receiving dividends from my experience as a student at UND.
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association is committed to growing the university by growing the alumni family.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
faculty. They're the ones that kind of helped push me through this.
Courses are hands-on and interactive. The communication program has so many different facets to it. One of the great things about the staff in the communication department is that they love what they do. They encourage you to really critically think and analyze everything you're learning. They're so into it, and it makes you want to be into it.
If you would like to attend a live show, go to our website at studio1.und.edu.
J.R.R. Tolkien's masterpiece, The Hobbit, is back in theaters for its second installment. The movie is called The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. As a prequel to The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit continues Bilbo Baggins' journey to reclaim the lost dwarf kingdom. While The Desolation of Smaug is a continuation of the story, it takes you into a whole new world. Bilbo, Gandalf, and company encounter many dangers on their quest. Their woes include giant spiders, wood elves, and the dragon Smaug.
The smallest, most unlikely character can prevail, will prevail, because of the heart, and they're just heartfelt.
Because The Hobbit has been split into 3 movies, none of the book's narrative was cut. Director Peter Jackson says he wanted this movie to feel a bit like a thriller. The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, ventures into theaters December 13th with a PG-13 rating. He's making a list and checking it twice. Have you been naughty or nice? We wanted your thoughts on what you would like Santa to bring you this holiday season.
Well, I was hoping to get a new chain for my four-wheeler because it's kind of worn out.
I want a sparkly Elsa dress and the big Elsa doll.
I would like my student loans paid off, so I'm not broke anymore.
I would like a GoPro Hero 3 because I'm going to Alaska next July, so I would like to record some of my times canoeing down the rivers there.
A T-phone in the middle, hidden, an iPad mini.
Why?
Because I can play my favorite games.
Well, I would like to go home to Long Island, but unfortunately with airfare being so expensive, I'm not going to be able to do that.
I want new Super Mario 3D World.
I'd love a warm vacation because it's pretty darn cold here in North Dakota right now.
A comment from our Facebook page, Brady in Sioux Falls says, meet and greet passes for the Dixie Chicks. I've seen them in concert twice. They are phenomenally talented musicians and I love what they stand for. I'd like to think we'd all be best friends. John from Bismarck, North Dakota says, a heat wave. This weather is too cold to the bone.
The winter holidays signify the beginning of scarf and sock season. For those not wanting to shop for such things, there is another option.
These library patrons may hear more than the librarian telling others to keep it quiet. In one area, they're more likely to hear conversation and the click-clacking of needles. In fact, the librarian even approves of this activity.
I like to make socks because they're small and I can take them with me.
Barry the librarian enjoys all colors of yarn, but her favorites are hot pink and turquoise. She is the coordinator of the Good Yarn Knitting Group.
Usually we get about 7 to 8 people, and sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depending on the weather or what's going on in town.
The group meets once a month in the Grand Forks Public Library. It allows yarn enthusiasts to meet and socialize with others like them. Not all its members fit the knitting stereotype, though.
I got into knitting after going to an after-school program. I was in like the arts and crafts, section. I just decided to do arts and crafts, and that day they were knitting.
And since that day, Timothy has narrowed his favorite yarn color to navy blue. He prefers to knit gift items for those he cares about, rather than making things to wear himself.
Yeah, I'm going to make my mom a couple of scarves, and I have a scarf there that I made for my best friend.
Besides saving money on holiday gift shopping, Timothy and others in the group have a love of conversation and click-clacking. It keeps them coming back to the yarn party. With photographer Olivia Fox, I'm Jay Millspa, reporting for Studio One.
Mary says the Good Yarn Knitting Group was founded about 3 years ago. This was Timothy's first time attending. He is an active member of the U.S. Air Force.
You know, those scarves are really in fashion right now. They're quite in season.
Yeah, I know. I saw a lot of people wearing them during summer and that kind of thing too. They're pretty fashionable.
Well, we still need them now, don't we? More than ever.
It's freezing.
Well, speaking more of weather, let's bring it down to Johnathan Metz in studio with a final look at today's weather. Come on, Johnathan, tell me how it's going to look this holiday season.
Well, Ann and Avery, I can't tell you how in-season scarves are, but I can tell you that it's going to be a little bit cooler over the northern half of the country. Warmer down in the southeast towards Florida, all the way back to California. Wetter than average across the north central part of the country up to Maine and down into Arizona. Dry spots in Texas, the southeast, and California. The weather question, we asked you what was the coldest temperature ever recorded in the world? Is it 98 below, 112 below, 135 below, or 204 below? The answer is 135 below. That was just measured with a satellite down in Antarctica in the first half of December. Ann and Avery, there's your weather for today.
Well, we hope that doesn't ever reach here.
I do too.
Well, that's our show for this season. As always, you can hear more about our stories through social media or get more information on our website.
We're going to leave you now with pictures of the cast and crew here at Studio One.
Have a great holiday, everyone.